People were smoking in the lab. It was not unusual to see somebody with a cup of coffee.
That sounds messy.
When I was a phlebotomist, we didn't wear gloves to draw blood. This was during, when the AIDS epidemic kind of started. People weren't quite sure what it was.
No gloves?
A long time ago, there weren't any such thing as barcodes, and so when we'd make our little accession number, there was a little line that you had to handwrite what the tests were, and then label the sample, and then send it on to the departments.
Some people used to bring their coffee cups into the lab and drink coffee while they were doing lab testing.
That would be nice.
We used to sit at the bench doing our little chemistry tests or reading our plates, and we'd tape our tea bag above the bench so we could use it later. It's horrifying to think about that now. I think that next to mouth pipetting are the two things that
it's
are
still
just
gross.
Absolutely mind-boggling that we actually used to do that.
I've heard of the mouth pipetting, but I didn't realize how lax it was back in the day.
Nobody thought that was a bad idea. Okay.
I thought I was going to be a professional golfer growing up. Obviously, that's not even close.
Not a scientist, for sure. I always thought I would have been a chef.
As a child, I think I wanted to be an artist. Laboratorian definitely did not make the list, but I think in college I found out that I worked well with like medicine and healthcare, and I kind of found myself working in the lab a lot more.
I am a time-traveling detective trying to preserve the timeline or patient results for the people of the future or our patients.
In my lab, we use a lot of microscopes in parasitology. And so if I were to have a role in a sci-fi movie, I think it would be that one character who finally finds that little hidden key that makes everything make sense.
I think that we'll be able to do 100% automation, samples come in and barring no weird issues, it can just go straight onto an automation.
I think right now, in the future, I hope that any test that any patient needs will be available to them, regardless of how financially well off that patient is. I feel like accessibility is a big problem right now, just in the world in general. Well, I think that everything that I do in the lab, every single result that I release, affects every single patient that gets that result, because it could either be good news that they're okay for a while, or it could be bad news and their livelihoods might be changed for quite a long time.
I think through science, we can help a lot of people. It's the only way to advance, actually, through science and technology. I think it will always be a relevant field in the medical profession. Maybe 100 years from now, it still will be. I think it helps a lot in the diagnosis of infectious diseases. It helps a lot of people.
I think that getting these results out to patients and knowing that it affects them immediately, gives me, it's a very rewarding experience.
Yeah, so I work in fecal testing, and I think, contrary to belief, we don't like poop.